Hi, this is my podcast about what motivates people to struggle for change. So, in order for people to change or want change, there has to be some sort of drive to initiate it. Struggles for change was clearly seen during the time segregation, especially in schools, was at its peak. Talk about segregation began when African Americans decided it's been long enough and wanted to change. So, they pretty much stood up for their rights and protested by by marches, sit ins, boycotts, freedom rides, stuff like that, which is basically the civil rights movement. So, starting off with the Brown versus Board of Education case, Linda Brown, a student, was denied entry to a whites only school, which meant she had to walk 6 blocks just to get a ride from the bus to the school that she was allowed entry to. And this was basically an everyday thing since the school near her house didn't allow her to attend, all because of her skin color. So her father, Oliver Brown, decided to use his voice so that his daughter Linda wouldn't have to travel so far to get to school. Now, bringing up the 14th Amendment, that document really did not require or prohibit integration, so people took advantage of it in a way and abused the separate but equal rule because it basically turned into separate but not equal. Um, Oliver argued that white schools were not equal to the schools for black children, and his claim ended up encouraging people to join him and try to make people look at others for who they are, not based on their race or income. And it opened up a window for equal protection of rights for African Americans because the court made the decision that the segregation of African American and white children will create a harder environment to learn in for the African American children. So now the was Brown versus Board a failure. A lot of the 755 schools with desegregation orders had fallen back, and now more schools were segregated again. So desegregation orders were meant to limit segregation in schools, but the number dropped drastically from 755, and the African American schools were closing, so it would be a longer commute for them to get to the schools that were left. This made a lot of people lose hope because it's almost as if they're back on page one, but also help people gain motivation to make it right once again so everything is fair. In Abraham Lincoln's second inaugural address, he mentioned that he wanted to reunite the North and the South and focus on rebuilding the country. Even though the South seemed angered by what he was saying, the North was amazed by his strong speech. So, no matter the many different opinions of those who heard the speech, it still encourages people to struggle for change. So, in the end, the struggle for change is a long, hard fought process until that change is attainable.